To introduce Constable Georgia Estrada. She's our speaker. Yeah. Good.
Oh, your hands are so warm. My hands are freezing. Can I move this just a little
Yes,
bit?
you sure can.
I'm a little short, guys. You know. Well, I am the elected constable for Precinct 2 here in Potter County, which I represent the east side of Amarillo, the southeast and northeast side of the county. Been in office since 2015 and coming up for election here pretty soon in 2020. I'm pretty excited. However, I shouldn't have been the guest speaker. These guys have some information that we're needing, right? Thank you, and I feel very honored and blessed that I'm able to speak with y'all. I mean, there's times where I don't know what's going on with the city. I just get ear of it, or I'm reading it on it and on Facebook or whichever. Amarillo Pioneer keeps me up to date a lot, and I just really want to thank you for having me here. However, I deal with the county, and there is similar issues with the county that is important, that I think there needs to be transparency with our taxpayers. I'm a taxpayer also, so I love to just let everybody know what's going on. I really want to challenge you to, when the commissioner court happens in the county, if you can't make it, look on YouTube, just Google or search on YouTube the Potter County Commission or commissioning meetings or whichever. I can't remember because sometimes I'll switch it up, and it's on there. Get in the know. It's very, very important to get in the know what's going on, both city and county, because sometimes they come together and they're making some deals, and you're wanting to know what the heck is going on. Well, however, I'm going to put that to the side anyways. What I do as a constable, a lot of people are like, what does a constable do? I see them suited up and booted up, and they're in these black SUVs, and they're running around town, and I don't know what's going on, right? Well, there's 4 of us. There's 4 precincts in Amarillo, in Potter County, and 2 in Randall. And what's really unique about Amarillo is we're divided between 2 counties. So what we do, the majority, is handle civil law and stuff like that, cases and on and on and on. There's not a comparison with me and the sheriff at all, because the sheriff is a county official, elected official also, and he has the jail. I don't have a jail, and thank God I don't. Hallelujah, because that's a stress I cannot take as of right now. But I handle everything that comes out of the courthouse and out of county that comes from the courthouses is sent to me, and we execute them. We do evictions, we do several writs like writ of executions. I'm retrieving property, I'm garnishing wages. I'm not doing it, I'm just giving the orders. There is writ of sequestrations where I have to go get property and it gets disputed in court and stuff like that. So it's really interesting. The thing about constables also is I have to hold the civil and the criminal mandated trainings. So that's what's unique about a constable. We are etched or inscripted, into the Texas Constitution, so it's hard to get rid of our jobs. As for the sheriff, it can be dissolved by a vote quickly. The constables can't, because we're in that Texas Constitution, which a lot of people don't understand that either. We were the first law enforcement in the United States, in the Americas when it was forming, and in Texas, and which is very honorable. I like that. I'm like, we were the first, I'm like, yeah, we were first. But a lot of people just don't understand. And a fun fact, real quick, COPS, the acronym is actually Constables on Patrol, just to let y'all know that. So, yeah, it is. It's pretty, I mean, when I got into this business, I came from the sheriff's office, Potter County Sheriff's Office, as a deputy. And when I got into this business, I was like, what in the world am I doing? What is this? Because civil is gray upon this shade of gray, of that shade of gray, of this shade of gray. It is just a lot. And I had to stay in training all the time. And a lot of people are like, well, why do you go? Oh, you're always gone. You're in training. Of course, because it's changing. And Claudette was talking about Panhandle days. I don't know what that is. What I do know is about Capitol days, because all the constables will gather together at Capitol Day at the Capitol and represent our counties, our precinct, and us as constables. because there's always somebody wanting to abolish the constables for whatever reason. I think we're just the coolest and just the greatest. But I do understand that in the past that there has been constables that have sat and received a pay and not worked, right? However, Carter County now has 4 working constables that are bringing in revenue that goes into the general funds. It does not come back to our offices at all. There is a huge disparity, just quick fun note, a huge disparity also in our salary along the county, and that's what we fight to. A huge disparity in having staff and equipment that's needed. We've been blessed. I got an awesome commissioner that took time to understand what I do, my office, why we are here. And sometimes she was like, why do you need that? One, because I'm a cop, you know, safety risk, you know. Why do you need to wear a bulletproof vest? Because we're knocking on doors and telling them they gotta get out, or I'm taking that property due to a court order. People don't like that, you know. They don't like that. So there's a lot that goes on with the constables. I'm gonna cut it short. So I don't want to waste y'all's time, and it's getting late and everybody got to get to work. But there is a lot that's involved in a constable and how we serve the county and how we serve the precincts. My jurisdiction is precinct, county, and state. That's another unique little fun fact about a constable, other than when you're trying to do a comparison of elected officials or law enforcement. So when at Capitol Day, I represent, and I went to our Texas representatives, and for Price, love him. He has always had an open door for us when we go talk to him. And there are some issues that, because I represent the east side, that I have a concern about, and got to speak to him about that. One is the census that's coming up. We got to get an accurate count and on that, because that is federal dollars that is coming to our county, and that is a lot of, you know, school systems, whatever else is going on with that. I'm learning, because I'm just brand new into this political world. As a deputy sheriff, I didn't have to deal with it. The sheriff took care of it, and I was happy, you know, going out and doing livestock calls or a wreck or whichever else. So this is brand new to me, and it's always a learning, progressive, like, trend for me, or just keep on going. And that's what I've seen also, is that a lot of people do not understand our local government. Our local government is what affects our home, our communities, and our city. And a lot of them focus on the national. Yes, the national will affect us, but what affects us the most is our local government. Right. And we have people in place that I believe that should not be there. However, me being an elected official, I answer to my people that voted me in. No matter, you know, I serve everybody. I serve everybody countywide and precinct-wide. I think it's very important for everybody to know, hey, this is what your constable's doing. This is what I'm dealing with. And I've had some heat off of that. I had some real heat off of that, and was asked why I went to Washington, D.C. to represent Potter County on a national level. Because I was accused of, it was abuse of taxpayer money. Well, why can't I represent on a national level if I'm a representative of my people that voted me in the precinct for the constable? So it was that opened my eyes, and I'm like, apparently they don't want something out that, you know, or they don't want a particular person being that voice. Well, I'm that voice, and I will always be that voice for the east side, and they know it. They really do. I get a lot of, I think I have that relationship with my precinct that they can come to me and they'll ask me, well, what do you think about this? Well, let me find out. And the city is one thing. It's a hot topic. It's going to be a hot topic. So, and it affects us, right? The trash cans, I have them in the northeast side over there off of Grand. They're in the street, guys. Yes, they are. That's the neighborhood that have the dumpsters in the front yard and on the sidewalks. Right. So I don't know that issue. All I can tell them is, hey, I'll find out It is a hot topic right now, and it was interesting to hear, what your perspectives on it was. That's why I was like, keep talking, because I'm trying to write notes, So, but I think the people just need to know what's going on. There's just been, yes, sir.
I have to say, and this is not me buttering you up, but it's just not. But from the standpoint of the Pioneer, you're like a celebrity.
Oh no!
Your whole precinct over there isn't going to look. And it seems like a lot of it comes from your office.
Oh, that is tough. I mean, I can't even, well, hold on, let me just give it. No, for real. That means a lot to me, because I bust a lot of tail, you know what I mean? If you know my story, I come from nothing. I was not even born in Amarillo, but I have that vision, that passion for the people.
Yeah.
That's who I respect, and I will always put them priority in every decision I make as a constable, because they entrusted in me and voted for me to be in this position, and I'm that voice. As a celebrity, I don't think so. I just want to do the job and do the job right. What's unique about Potter County, we are actually been seen statewide and recognized statewide, because we have the four constables here. I actually got this award that came out of the blue for a statewide recognition, and I was like, oh my God. And I don't take no credit at all. I really don't. The reason why is because it was the community coming together. And VFW at that time came together, and oh my gosh, we made it happen here in Potter County, and it was recognized statewide. And it gives me the chills still, and I will always hold on to that, because they are engraved in my heart. Because if I only had to make one call, and those guys were amazing. I got to meet the state the state commander, sorry, of the VFW at that time, which was awesome. We took a total of 8 semis of supplies down for Hurricane Harvey. I orchestrated four those. And we went all the way down to Port Arthur, Port Aransas, Rockport, San Antonio. It was great. I was in tears. And but I will never take credit for that, because it was the community that came together. And I got that award, and it was really, really humbling. And I wish I could give everybody something back, but my money's short too. But anywho, with that being said, I try to always make sure that the people are my priority, no matter what. Right now I'm dealing with a scholarship. I also give a scholarship for aspiring senior to go to college from high school. And I said, you know what, I'm doing this, and I put my foot in my mouth, and I'm like, oh my God, let me go, let me finish school too. Well, I'm there too. And with T3 here, he's right behind me, so I'm like, come on, come on, and it's really amazing, because seeing somebody so young, and I feel like, I'm old as heck in these classrooms. I'm looking at them like, and I come in uniform sometimes, and they're like, oh God, she's a cop, We can't talk a bunch, but anyway, it's great. There's a lot that I like to do. Let's see, hot topics in the county, what's going on, and I can go on and on, because I got so much. Hot topics of the county, what's going on is the district courthouse being built, right? That is about a $63 million expense. Apparently, what I'm understanding through Commissioner's Court, that they have put aside about $8 million aside for a down payment on this new building. There's not even a plan yet. We have not seen anything on it yet. Commissioner's Court will happen Monday. Let's see if there's some type of plan. But they're moving forward without a vote and a plan. Yeah. So a total of $63 million of taxpayers' money is about to go into this district courthouse, which, yes, it's needed, because that district courthouse is old and it's moldy and it stinks, and you'll hear Judge Tanner say it smells like sewer. Absolutely it does. But across from there, where the old sheriff's office was, is a parking lot that we paid, and I say we as a taxpayer, I believe it was $30,000 for grass. Okay, and across from the street from that is a parking garage that we, as taxpayers, paid 1.5 million around there. I hear 1.5 and I hear 1.6 million for a parking garage that's not being used at all.
Which parking garage you talking about?
Right across from the embassy.
Oh, well, that was 19 million.
The county,
19 million?
It's 15 million to build it and then another 4 million to put the underground, places for businesses that no one's using.
Okay, so the county had 1 point,
They had one, yeah.
yeah, the
Now
county paid,
did, right.
right. So,
But
and then you
ADC put
hear,
up the other.
yeah, and then the embassy's occupancy, if it's not filled up to 80%, I'm not sure. What I heard on that was that the city and the county would take that part if it's not up to 80% of occupancy during certain times. Well, I think that's a concern that we need to look at too. As an elected official, I don't have that right to make decisions on the finances because I'm not a commissioner. I do have a commissioner that is on point. He's wanting to know what's going on, wanting to know that where the funds are going to be at, how we're going to allocate it, and this and with. I mean, she's a financial manager as a professional before she was a commissioner through healthcare, so she knows all that stuff. I'm learning about it too, but I'm thinking, hello, the people need to know this stuff, along with what the city's doing. Well, when this goes off, what I'm understanding, when the district courthouse is going to be built, is the same time where a new civic center is going to be built. Yeah.
yeah, they're pushing for that to be
Yeah.
on either the November ballot or the one coming the next May. So they're actually going to push a, help me T3, was it $200 million bond?
Something like that. Just shy.
For the Civic Center renovation. But, I mean, things are moving at such a fast clip, I mean, you can't keep up with everything. $200 million for Canyon, $200 million Canyon Pass, $200 million for a Civic Center bond, a 60 or 54 million for the district courts building, you know.
Amarillo College bond too.
Amarillo College bond,
89
89
Right.
million. If you start looking at all those things, there's no way for this local economy to sustain that kind of occurrence of debt.
I don't know, I'm a cop. But I've injected myself and invited myself to meetings and invited myself into certain committees to see what's going on. We have Potter County has a strategic plan that they did that we were not invited, and I'm gonna be just real upfront to it. The constables were not included in this, nor the JPs. And when I found this out, I was like, why weren't we? We are also elected officials. Where what we deal with constables and as constables in Potter County is we're not considered elected officials nor law enforcement. We're just kind of like the redheaded stepchild, if that's a phrase I can use. And so I kind of invited myself to the table on that, and I found out that the district court decisions were already made. The committee on this strategic plan is the same ones that are there at the commissioner's court. They're all in the know, but I'm not. So why isn't the public in the know also? There's a lot going on and a lot of expenses that are about to happen, and it is scary. Are we growing? Yes, but what I'm trying to push is that census, not push, but bring awareness. I guess that's a better term. To bring awareness to the census is because that's funds that we're going to need to help out. And if we don't get an accurate count on that, then that's going to, kind of affect our federal funds.
I was talking to Mark Nair, and Mark Nair said that state law requires at some level over 200,000 that you move away from a manager council form of government to single member districts anyway. So I'm actually wondering if the reason that they're pushing all of these large projects is to go ahead and get that done before the next census comes.
That has been a conversation that was brought up, and again, guys, I'm new at this, okay? So I'm trying to, understand all this at the same time. I'm glad y'all brought that up because that's another hot topic that's surfacing as a single member district. We need people to represent the east side. We need somebody in there to speak on the city part of it, to be that
Yes.
voice. It really, really frustrates me, really, really does, when all we get is trash cans over there, but the mattresses and the tree limbs and everything else is piled up in the alley. And I get calls because they can't get questions from the city, so who's next that might listen to me? So my phone is always going, and I'm like, okay, let me see what I can do. I can get you some information, let me see what I can do on that part, but I'm limited on the city part, that's the only thing. But I'm there because I answer the phone. What to do with that is very, very frustrating. It is, especially on the northeast side, it's neglected. It's very, very neglected. And I've spoken to, in a meeting, well, the Hispanic heritage, that we need inclusion. We do. There's the north side, the east side, and I'm always gonna fight for the east side guys, because that's who, where I represent. But the inclusion part of the city, of the county, why are y'all leaving us out? There's things that need to be done there. That lighting, it's so dark in the northeast side. It really is. If you go down right now, northeast 24th to Eastridge, all the way down, it is dark. It is extremely dark. We've had several people get run over on that street, northeast 24th, because it was just too dark. Well, what happened after that? A lady died, got ran over, then they want to put lighting. I don't think we need to be reactive. I think we need to be proactive. And there's outcries of the community saying we need sidewalks, we need, lighting, whichever else. They have adopted the Barrio Neighborhood Plan. That's great. And I'm on that committee. That's about to happen. What's up to the table right now is the underpass on 10th that's going into where Fiesta Foods and all that. Right. They're about to start this beautification project and see how that goes. But at the same time, we're working on sidewalks. They're going to put more lighting there. They're going to put a mural going in saying welcome to the barrio, and then when you're going west, it's going to say welcome to City Center, or whatever it's called. Something, I don't know. So I'm like, okay, but how is that affecting us? I mean, we need more. Yes, sir.
I got a couple of questions. First of all, you're pretty informed for a constable. I applaud you for that.
Oh.
And after listening to you talk, I mean, you're pretty dynamic from like any law enforcement that I've talked to. I think you should run for a council spot.
Oh.
It's a little too late for that right now, but I mean, and would you ever entertain coming and talking to the council? Because I think somebody showing up in a uniform, even though you're one part of the city, you have a pretty powerful voice, and I think if you want to fight for that part of the city, come and talk, because they don't listen to anybody. But I bet you walk in there with a gun and a badge, don't listen. I mean, they don't want people like you in there talk because you're Hispanic and you're representing the side of town that they want to keep under the rug.
Right, and I have when they were going to name the bridge over there from the past commissioner, Manny Perez.
Yeah,
I know we did.
that.
We showed up in with some numbers.
We need some
then
regulars though. Like we need somebody like you, because they don't care about us. They just ignore us. They're not going to ignore you. I promise you. I promise you, they will start doing stuff if you show up. Because that badge and that gun, they don't want you up there talking.
Well, I hope it's not. I don't want to be defined by the badge and the gun.
Well,
you know what
I'm
I mean?
not
I want to be
saying that.
defined
That's just
as
going to get there. That they don't want that up there because it's loud and it accentuates your voice for that side of town, and they don't want it. And so whether it's a crutch, whether it's a way to pry that door open, so be it. I bet if you could get something done over there, you wouldn't mind using the uniform, right? If they'll do something about it. And I think that they would, just to shut you up, if you will.
Well, yeah, we're in that tiered program, and I think we're on the second level, but the city has stopped us on that east side tier development and stuff, and that's where my commissioner comes in. That's where I get the, hey, this is what's going on here. Apparently, if y'all remember, it was $100 million project on the east side, and now it's stopped. that was when the big Texan was gonna move a little bit more in and bought that, Splash Amarillo or Amarillo Splash or Splash America, I'm sorry. Whatever that was, and they were gonna start developing. Now we have a Starlight Ranch, but it's just kind of went, because there's been a stoppage there. Which I kind of feel a little discriminated on that. I was like, come on now.
They're still moving along with it. I mean, they've gone through all the steps and everything at Amarillo College, getting it all approved, so. AC approved their portion of it. I don't know
Yeah,
if
and
the
I was
county-
there at that meeting. I showed presence on that. Like, hey, y'all come to the table with that. The city's bringing it, the county, now AC's gonna bring it to
Has
the
the
table.
county stopped on their end of it?
No,
They
what
haven't
I'm hearing is,
stopped?
it's the city that's put a stop to it because of infrastructure, build of the infrastructure.
This gentleman,
Got a quick question for you. We're having a meeting like this. What would it take to have a meeting like this with your people over there on that side to get them out, to get them active and
Right.
you know, like this gentleman said, you're a very strong voice for your people. And I gotta agree, I appreciate his comment with what he said. I've just met you tonight, you know, and I'm just sitting here listening to you and some of the things. You are a very strong influence, like you said, you know, with it. You are a taxpayer, just like anybody else. I think if you showed up like that and it's made them, you know that you're that taxpayer too. You know, it's time to get some results over there. These results that we need more than names for bridges. We need results in other way. You know, these names, it's a fine gesture, but you know, Center City, you know, and welcome to, yes, that's nice, but like you said, we need more that way. You know, this single member district stuff, you know, it's time for equal representation.
Absolutely.
You know,
I
with
do
it.
agree that, yes.
and the reason for that is because consistently, over and over again, they have proved that they will not do the right thing with the structure that they have. So it's time, it may not be the ideal thing, but it's time to try something different. And I think if they broke it up into 6 districts and had them be single member districts, I think that there's actually a fighting chance for each side of town to go ahead and get the representation that it deserves.
Absolutely, I agree with that.
It's not just fair that they only get their taxes, but they will do nothing for that.
That's right. They've been robbing those people for years. They've been taking their taxes and spending it in other places and on other projects.
And I firmly agree with what you said a while ago, Tom. They're trying to push this before the census.
They are. I know that.
Absolutely. It kind of becomes clear when you start hearing these explanations, you know, with it, you know, and everybody's point of view.
Look at the way that the census jumped last time. I mean, it jumped from what, 192,000 to
199,562.
Yeah. Why? How did we not break over the 200,000 mark and gave it another 10 years to get the job done?
Once
And
you guys,
I had this actual discussion with Paul Harpole in 2011, right after he won mayor. He came to the museum when we opened it, and we were discussing it, and he said within the next 10 years, he said, we will switch over to single-member districts. And his explanation to me revolved around the population at the prison. At that time, according to what he said, the city of Amarillo was planning on extending the city limits out on the east side so that they could go ahead and take Tyson and a bunch of those
Really?
industries
Why
out
is it
there.
going that way?
Well, they wanted to move out so that they could take that in for taxes. And they stopped because of the threat of the single-member districts. State law at that time, according to what he said, if they got too close to the prisons, then that population could be incorporated into the city of Amarillo. So you had to include that population also. And so they backed off. But it gave them another 10 years to get the job done. So look where we came from, 2010 to now. And I think it all has to do around with the manipulation of the population.
when you talk about manipulation, and it's a padding of the general fund, all this stuff is. Look up the water meters and you'll see, she brought this up, but the swimming pool closing on the north side, and she brought it up again. They said that it was gonna cost $10 million to replace a swimming pool. It's a whole tree. $10 million. Claudette calls them out the next week and said, well, they just built a water park in Canyon for $6 million. So how is that $10 million? Well, they corrected it in 1 week. They went from saying it cost $10 million to saying, well, our consultants were off And this was at the North Side meeting, they said it's more like 3 million. So think about it, what else is off by 70%?
Well, I'll tell you, a ballpark. At the time that we approved our ballpark, Albuquerque, you can weigh in on this. Albuquerque approved their ballpark for $12 million.
Well, I got one for you guys.
And it's bigger.
I've got this on video and I haven't released it yet. It was a town hall budget meeting. It was at the northeast, what do they call it, the library over there on 45th at the John Stitt Park. And we were the only ones that
Southwest
showed up.
Library.
It was me, her, and a couple other people. I don't think you were even there.
Southwest Library.
Yeah, I don't even think you were there. Were you?
I think I was.
Okay, so they had screwed up so much on this plan, this budget plan. And you want to talk about misdirection, I'll tell you about two things. I'm looking at this graph and they said, well, our hotel hot tax is up by 50,000. And I looked at it and I said, well, it's not really up because you had a $70,000 pass-through expense. So really you're negative. And the accountant said, well, yeah, you're right. And then I said, and we're only looking at the top 150,000 of a $14 million graph. So it was about 3 inches, and I said, and if my math is right, we're looking at the top 3 inches of a 25-foot tall graph. And I said, so about that wall right there, and you're showing this difference that was this much. And I said, so we're looking at if that was 25 foot tall, we wouldn't even be able to see the difference at the top of that graph. And she said, well, yeah, you're right. And then the last thing I said was the thing that bothers me, and maybe you guys have a quick answer for this, but I looked at the cost of every single AA ballpark ever built in the United States, ever built. And then I factored in the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, with every one of them, because they're not built every year. So you have to figure out what's the real dollars in this. And I said, this park that you're building is 50% more per seat than any ballpark ever built. And the city manager turns to me and he says, Mike, we don't know why, we don't know the answer to that question, why it costs so much more. We've never done an analysis quite like yours. And it caught me off guard so much because I was like, man, if I'd only thought of this answer, do you mean you didn't get a ballpark price when you were shopping for a ballpark? Can you imagine if I'd have said that? I mean, he really said that, and I've got it on film.
Well, Deepak Patel on the hotel down here, Deepak Patel did a total analysis on everything that it cost, and their production costs on the Embassy Suites Hotel down there, what cost was twice per square foot what it was on like premium construction in any hotel in the United States.
Well, and you ought to see the SPS building. We've dug into that, and man, that one's deep. They got that thing buried. There's even a company that's a virtual company that was set up in the offices of a Wells Fargo, and you can't find the people that own it. It's impossible
It's a
so
virtual
far.
office, you can buy it online.
You can buy a virtual office with Wells Fargo and wherever.
This is not conspiracy. This is real stuff that's
It
going on
really
in Amarillo,
is.
Texas.
These are facts.
These are facts that are going on in Amarillo, Texas.
Well, I had an individual come in this week to my office, which blew my mind. I don't even know why he came in, or I thought he was lost. But it was interesting, the conversation that I had with him, because he said he works for Hilton, the hotels. And I'm like, oh, okay, whatever, how can I help you? And he was Spanish speaking, so he needed some help on some documents, which I did that. And he was telling me that the Harrington building, I guess downtown, is it the Harrington building, the older one? That they're about to, it's in construction right now to start making those apartments.
Oh, it's not the Harrington.
Oh, that's not
Is it the Harrington, which one is it?
Another one.
Barfield.
Barfield building?
The old one, the older one?
Is it on
Third. Yeah.
Down to the police station?
Yeah.
To the-
Oh, wait, no, you're right.
On the-
Herring,
Harrington? Herring, okay. And I was like, oh, is that right? And I'm like, what else? 5 more Hiltons are coming. And he's in charge of that. He came, yeah, he's international that came in for this. So we're gonna get 5 more, and they're gonna start building those lofts there. Another rumor.
But is this private funds or where is this coming from?
I don't know.
So
That's
where
the
are we
only
putting
thing.
in these?
I don't know.
Where's the
something-
analysis on what's coming in to
Yeah,
these rooms.
Thank you,
Produce
I don't know.
taxes.
So actually,
So that's just something to bring to
What's
the
gonna bring
table.
the tourists in when we go down?
The
Right.
sod pools
Another interesting.
in this overpriced ballpark.
Yeah,
Well, we got a $300 million ball player for the San Diego Park. He might come here and play when he's.
Overspent for him too.
so that was something interesting that fell in my lap, and I'm like, this is okay? What am I supposed to do with this? So I thought, hey, this is something that's probably gonna need to be told, you know? Just keep an eye on that. Maybe, maybe we can keep track of what's gonna happen there. Another thing is what I'm hearing, all for the Tyler Resource Center has been bought out and it's gonna be moved. The bus station's gonna be moved. Well, where is it gonna be
Yeah,
moved to?
I've heard about that, they're gonna, well, what I've heard is that they're going to combine the Greyhound bus station with our city bus station and create a whole new bus station with the Greyhound and with the city buses together, which to me just sounds like a nightmare.
The rumor I
I've
heard,
that.
the
I've
rumor I
that's what
heard,
they're gonna do.
and I can't say
Looking
it's
something up
gospel,
about how they was gonna do it. and that's
that
what
they're gonna put it over there on Pullman Road,
That's
way
a
out
good
there.
place.
Okay?
I've been told that by some people, that the way you can get rid of your concentration of your homeless in the city is to move your bus station out of the city.
Yes.
And that way the homeless will come into your city
Right.
at a distance from your downtown area.
Right, okay, so the Tyler Resource Center has been bought out, and I'm hearing that, it's rumor, so it's not gospel, just keep an eye out, ear up, that they're gonna build it in the north side of town, something. So the undesirables are getting thrown again in the northeast
East
side
side.
of the county.
Move everything to the east.
Yeah,
They don't want them in Center City.
No,
no,
I've got one more cliffhanger for you guys. This happened today. This is at our business on I-27 in McCormick. Got served with a search warrant by our city health department 2 miles outside the city to look at my toilets at a business. This business doesn't have, it's not a health food, that we don't serve food, nothing. They served a warrant to look at my septic system.
Because they said that they think it was modified potentially in the 1990s. So once I filled out my application to run for mayor, then they started showing up.
We've got it all on video. We've got it all on tape. We've got their calls on tape. They were trying to ask me, they said, on the phone, it said, he said, we need to come out there. We need to know what kind of business it is, how many customers are in this business, how many people are, and then they call with prank calls saying, hey, can we have catering out there? Can I bring about 100 people with me? Just trying to bait us into whatever they were trying to do. And I said, I gave him my piece of my mind, and then the next time he came out, he burned out of the parking lot because I was giving him another piece of my mind. But when he showed up at the building, he was kicking on the door. The health department was kicking our door. And there's more to this, and we're putting it all together. And there's a lawsuit about to be filed now against Randall County and the city, and we're gonna drag them to Randall County because they did it in Randall County as agents for Randall County, and now the city gets to go to Randall County because they've been hiding under the Potter County because they're so comfortable over there because they got everybody in their pocket. So we're gonna drag them to Randall County. There's more to come on this. This just happened today.
so real quick, to close what I can say, and I'm thinking, my mind has a lot, I mean, I can go on and on, but I like to try to get that northeast side, or even the north side, they need to come out and vote. We have not had a good turnout, except for the midterms that it went up. So we were watching the numbers, and we had the first time in a long, years and years and years, they came out to vote. And I'm talking about, no matter the party, it's just the number of the voters, this came out. So I think that's real important, that we need to start riling them up and get that urgency. Hey, we need you to come out, because I can't really do a whole lot without the community. I really can't. The reason why I say that, I'm successful is because of the community. They believe, and then once you get them to believe in all that, they will back you up and they'll come out and vote. Yes, ma'am, sorry.
Talking about that, we have been talking in our group that we have right now, that we're starting, that the point right there is education
Absolutely.
first,
Yes.
and then they will come and then they will want to even participate in stuff like this.
Right, right, and just because, I don't know, maybe they feel they've been excluded so long, they don't feel they have a voice, they don't have a part, or they say, oh, we got her, we voted her, she's the one doing it, but again, I can't do it myself.
So that's why I need to talk with you, Mrs. Estrada, is because what I've noticed in going to city council meetings in the past, it was, a lot of these people complain, but they don't want to get involved. And like they're pointing out, you could be a fine spokesman for your side of the city, just like we're working on a Mildred Darden in the north side, and you've got Teresa working there with the community center on the barrio. But we need to start bringing these groups together to start getting the information. Collection of trash is a problem. The city set down standards about who's going to be responsible for trash in a dumpster. That dumpster is not to have anything outside of it. All the citizens of Amarillo were told this. Now, you've got indication to me, what I'm hearing, is that the citizens didn't know that the city changed the rules. You are responsible to call the city and put your stuff that can't go in the dumpster out on your curb.
Right, it
And
changed
there's
from beside the dumpster to now and put it in front of, you know, the front
And you
yard.
call the city, and the city picks it up off the curb.
Right.
So for citizens to say they don't know, well, that's their problem. So how do we talk to these different citizens? Because there's all over this city, people that don't want to be involved in what the city's deciding. And how do we get us together to where we start learning from one another? The education, I think, is a comment.
That has been on
How do
my
we do
heart
that?
for a while, and it has, and just trying to get that information in different languages also.
Absolutely.
There is a language barrier that I deal with on the east side. I mean, I have, where did they put the refugees when they opened up for the refugees?
Eastridge.
Yes.
Yeah, Eastridge.
So I have language barriers there, and it's hard, but are they voters? Some of them are, some of them not. They don't have their citizenship yet, but it's still good to have like a public hearing or a town hall to spread that news. A lot of people didn't know that they had to put it in the front yard. We're a working class on the east side. We have to work. So do we sit in front of the TV to understand this, or what's reality and what's truthful on Facebook? So I think holding little meetings like this and then just involving and start spreading the word, hey, this is what's going on, we need to get in the know, is very, very important. That's something that's been on my heart. However, it's just me. And just a fun fact, I am a one-person office, so that means I'm everything. I'm the secretary. And Laura had a hard time getting a hold of me. I'm sorry, Laura, I'm working, or I'm going to school, whichever. But anywho, yeah, there's something that needs to continue on, and we have to get that information out because it's very vital, and it affects the votes. It really does. A lot of people just go by what Facebook, and that's not. It's not the real stuff. We need to get down and dirty. We really do, and hopefully I can do that too with my community and just spread that. Hey, this is what's going on, and we need to get out and vote. So, any more questions?
I like your style.
Yeah.
I'm going to be reaching out to you as a group. We're going to be doing some more work with you because the one reason that we started this group was to be a type of hub, if you will, to the Hispanic people, to the east side, to the north side, for the main reason that even though some people have taken it as a type of, we're kind of segregating a group of people. Well, listen, that side of town doesn't know that there is a lighthouse over here.
Yeah.
They can't see it when it's called certain things. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying Republican, Democrat, conservative, liberal. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, when I grew up on the north side of town, one thing that made me become what I am today as a conservative is if you pull out a photo album from 20 years ago, it looks the same today. The background. Well, like you said earlier, nothing is changing over there. You can almost go back to the future, if you will, and end up there and say, it's 2019. And that's not for illustrative purposes. That's really what's going on. What it sounds like, listening to all you guys speak on the taxes and the fiscal situation with why things are being done the way they are, you know what it reminds me of? It's a type of, it's a fiscal gerrymandering of our taxes.
I thought the exact same thing.
You know, gerrymandering back in the day was about the vote, and setting up districts
Yep.
to keep certain whatever. Well,
To influence.
it's really on the bottom dollar now, right? Isn't that something? So,
Keep you in your place, is that what you're saying? Stay in your lane.
pretty much,
Speaking of
pretty
dollars,
much.
and he was talking about the Thompson Pool, is one of the things I want to do with Thompson Pool is there's $1.6 million slated for community development that's all being spent in the southwest part of Amarillo. What could we do with $1.6 million a year for the Thompson Pool, for East
Sure.
Ridge, for all these other communities that no one's doing anything for?
Well, I'll tell you something about the Thompson Pool that
Take the southwest.
I'm not the smartest person in the world, but I can tell you, one thing that stuck out to me in that situation was, where is the audits going on during the time leading up to all the damage?
Yeah, exactly.
Wasn't there anyone
Exactly.
going in,
Yeah, exactly.
checking these pipes? You know what I mean? What's going on
Yeah.
there? So something was going on.
I was in a, not to interrupt
No,
you, real
you're
quick,
fine.
just, it comes to me, so I'm like, let me tell you. What my understanding was, and I was in a meeting, that the current council had no clue about the severity of the damages or repairs of the pool.
Sure.
And since it was like 90, how old is the pool?
92
90
years
years, yeah. I mean, where is the documentation and what you're saying, the maintenance logs and stuff like that? Is it, do I have history in the north side? I really don't, because I stayed mainly in the east side, so I take the kids to the Osage one, the southeast. But to take something like that from kids that they don't even have anything anymore
Nothing.
over there.
There's nothing.
And Wonderland's raising its prices, yearly, just like the fair. But however, where is the logs at? Where? How did y'all not know or this was happening or whichever? So they're claiming that they did not know.
They're full of it. I did a big video of this, some of you might have seen it, but I went over there with my drone.
Sure.
I haven't released that footage yet, I got more. Got more. This is why there's certain warrants at my house. We took it, you guys might have seen, I stuck, this window is open underneath. You know, it looks real bad when you drive up on it and there's this little window that's open. I stuck a 360 camera, a film that takes one picture all the way around. We stuck 2 spotlights in there. There's nothing wrong with that pool. There's no cracks. They said 10,000 gallons a day was leaking. So there'd be some water lines. There'd be some stalactites and whatever they call those things, like caverns and stuff.
You can call it whatever you want these days, just call it.
This thing would be, that pool would be sinking into the ground. Put 10,000 gallons of water around your house and tell me if you don't have the Titanic. Your house will be leaning. And we look, there's no cracks. There's none. So if you go look at the video, they filmed the video in August of the drip, 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 drip. This is a concrete decking around it where they were filming it. What are you gonna have if you have concrete decking? Drip, 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 there's kids up there. That's just dripping from kids walking around, getting out of the pool. So they filmed that in August. Budget was September 11th. They didn't release this film till, what was it, December? So they knew this was all strategic. I have a pool in my backyard and it's a money pit. They wanted to get rid of the money pit. They gotta cut corners, because if this 2% cap goes in, and they don't have the money, how are you gonna keep that ballpark open? Look at what they just did. Nobody even caught on to this. I don't know, you guys probably did. But do you remember when they just said that the ball team owner was going to spend money out of their own pocket to upgrade amenities at the park? It was the same day, it was the day after that they announced that in the newspaper. The day before, the city commission voted to move $2 million into the ball team owner's bank account. So the media portrayed it like the ball team was making these expenses out of their own pockets, but it wasn't. It was our money that was moved to, so they wouldn't have to vote on it. So they wouldn't have to vote on $1 million in private suite furniture. They wouldn't have to vote on these things, so now that the ball team can make these decisions, so it wouldn't be on the front page of the paper.
Well, talking about the pool over there, you talk about a department that's got an annual budget of $500,000. This is a Parks and Rec department.
Yeah.
They got an annual budget of $500,000 to run 30 parks.
And it used to be how much?
That's what I want.
That's what I don't know.
It's been cut down to nothing.
has
I
been
heard
cut
it was
down.
like 10 million or something.
But
It's been cut down to
out of
nothing.
that $500,000, only $100,000 of it is for maintenance.
That's the only thing I have. I was born in Oakland,
How they gonna
California,
take
East
the-
Oakland. You might, I don't know if you know anything about that. I moved to Pampa. I moved to Pampa as a teenager, but in Oakland and Pampa, Oakland that's the only thing, the number one thing that kept us out of trouble. You as a police officer, you need things to keep these kids out of trouble. The only thing, we were still in trouble, but there was a lot of whistleblowing at us at the park, at least some people watching us, and the only meal that we ate good in the summer was at the Parks and Recs when they had their arts and crafts stuff and they give us sack lunches and stuff. That's all we ate. So what are you giving these kids have no choice but to go out and commit crimes? Like, they got to go steal just to eat, and they're just throwing them in the trash. That's what they're doing. When they closed down that pool, it was a big FU to the north side.
Well, they tried to close down the library. They tried to close down the North Side Library.
Not the Southwest Library.
No, they didn't.
Not
They
the
tried to close
Southwest
down the
Library.
Southwest Library, but the North Side Library.
They want to, here's what they're doing.
The East Side Library.
I showed up when Claudette was in
Precinct
Austin.
2.
Claudette was in Austin. I was at the Randall County Commissioner Court, and I gave them a packet, and I said, look, I said, this is bigger than what you think. I said, and I told them about the city messing with us out there with the health department. I said, they're pressuring people outside the city. They're gonna start outside first, and they're pressuring these small business owners, and they're running them out of business, running them out of town. Get these decision makers out of the way and make this a bedroom community, and get these franchises in here where we don't have decision makers here, and get these people to shut the hell up and give us their tax money or leave. And with the homeless thing, they're going after that bottom layer. If we don't protect the lowest common denominator, who's next? Is it the black people? Is it the Mexicans? Is it the trailer parks? Who is it? Because they're gonna go after the next layer. They're just trying to up that average income, because that's how they figure that tax. The way they do it with the formula, it's a formula, and they factor in the average income. And if the income comes up, they can tax more. If they pass this tax cap, it's a formula that basically, and then they said we would have had 2 tax rollback elections based on what our taxes were over the last 6 years had this cap been in place. So that tells me that our taxes are too damn high. It's like the rent is too damn high, our taxes are too damn high. And they're just trying to get rid of that bottom layer. Then you do the census, you get rid of the homeless, there's a bunch of people that aren't gonna bring our averages down. Get rid of whoever, the next layer, bring it up, we can tax more.
That's right. Well, guys, I want to just thank Constable Estrada for taking some time out.